Welcome back. What have we learned so far in Python? We learned about inbuilt functions and some vocabulary words in the last video. In my last video, some inbuilt functions we learned was print and input. Let's see what those do and review them. So, print outputs whatever you ask or put inside the brackets. So if I print a string, it will print that string. Input will print whatever you put inside the brackets and let the user answer the question. Input is similar to print, except you can answer it. Some vocabulary words we learned was variables, strings, and integers. Variables are things that hold something, such as string, an integer, and more. Strings are basically keyboard characters tied together in quotes. Integers simply mean numbers. In this video or lesson, we're going to make a small program using all these and a bit more. We're going to learn about if-else statements and exit and continue. We won't be using continue, but it's a good word or inbuilt function to use. Today we're going to make a small program using input, print, strings, integers, variables, if-else statements, and more. We already know what most of these mean and what they do, but haven't learned to use them all in one program. First, we're going to learn what an if-else statement is. If-else statement is basically a way to do different things based on the previous answer. Let's say you ask a question to the user like, do you want to continue? If the user says yes, then continue. Else, exit. In this situation, you need to use the if-else statement. The if-else statement can be used in many other cases too. This situation is just an example. We're going to use this if-else statement when we are coding our smart program. Now we're going to learn about exit and continue and what they do and why we use them. These two inbuilt functions are commonly used when wanting to exit code or to continue running. Exit does basically what it means. It exits the code or finishes it. On the other hand, continue means to keep on running the code. We can use exit and continue when we ask the user if they want to continue or exit. If they want to continue, we write continue. If they want to exit, we code exit. In this program, we will not be using continue, as it is only used when we have nothing else to write in an if-else statement. So let's code our program, and let's see what we're going to code today. So what are we going to code today in Python? Well, we're going to be coding the following. First, we'll ask the user, do you want to play this small fun game? The user can answer yes or no. Let's say yes. Then it says, okay, great, let's continue. Pick a name. I'm going to pick the name PFK, but you can pick any name, of course. Then we'll say, welcome to the guessing game. You'll be asked to guess this magical word or number, getting 20 points for each correct and losing 1 point for each wrong. Let's play. Guess, is this a word or a number? I guess word. Sorry, you got it wrong. It's a number. So far, you have -1 points. Guess what number is this? From 1 to 100. So this number is basically a random number the computer thought of, or we thought of, and we have to guess it. So I'm going to say 50. 50. Sorry, you got it wrong. You have -2 points. Guess what number this is. 75. 75. Yippee, you got it right. You ended up with 18 points. So now you can see that the total number of points you can get is 40 if you get both of them correct in this first try. We are also going to use something called YALL. It's very easy to explain. So while we're coding, I'll explain it to you. So let's code this. Now. First, let's see what we might use to code this. Well, the first thing it does is asks us a question. do you want to play this small fun game? And the user is able to answer it. This sounds like input, and we're going to store this input into a variable called yes or no. So yes or no is equal to input brackets a string called do you want to play this small fun game? And now we're going to use our if and else statement. What we're going to say is if yes or no, or our output, is equal to yes, then we're going to print, okay, great, let's continue, and keep on going. Else, if it says no, or something else random, then we're going to say, okay, bye, and exit. So it won't do any of this. It'll finish like this. To do an if and else statement, the first thing is easy. You do if, and then you have to say yes or no is equal to, and equal to is two equal signs, is equal to yes, the string yes, of course, because everything you write after input is always going to be a string. So if this is equal to yes, then print, okay, great, let's continue. Else, print bye then, and exit. Now you see that in the first statement of if and else, we do this, and the second statement, or else, we don't. If you do want to say yes or no is equal to no, then you can do an elif. So instead of else, do elif yes or no is equal to no. And it would still do the same thing, but it's just easier to just say else. If you have more than one answer, like yes, no, maybe, so, then you could do elifs. So we're going to run this after we're done with the entire program. So now it says pick a name. So this is also an answer this is also a question we can answer. So we're going to name this in another variable called question 1, let's say, which is going to be equal to input brackets a string called pick a name. And we let it do whatever it needs to. Or we don't need to care. We don't need to put it into a variable. It doesn't matter. We don't need that name anymore. Well, after that, we just need to print the directions. It says, welcome to the guessing game. You will be asked to guess this magical word or number, getting 20 points for each correct and losing 1 point for each one wrong. Let's play. Now, it's up to you whether you want getting 20 points for each correct and losing 1 point. That's really just up to you. So first, or after that, it asks, guess, is this a word or a number? So we're going to store that into another variable called question 1, and it's going to be equal to input brackets a string called guess, is this a word or a number? Question mark. And we're going to use our if and else statement again and say if Q1 is equal to word, then wait a second. What is this doing? Well, it's asking us is it a word or number. So Probably the person coding this already picked is it a word or a number, and then they did this. So we're going to have a set of variables. I'm going to make a comment here saying variables and make a random number. You can make it a number or a word, it doesn't matter. In this case, it's a number, so we're going to also do a number for now. So our number is going to be equal to, let's say, 75, like it says over here. And it also has the points, so we can put points. For now, of course, it's got to be 0, because you always start out 0 in a game. Unless it's Monopoly. In Monopoly, you earn money in the beginning. If that was real, that would be amazing. But anyways, let's go back to coding. So if Q1 is equal to word, then it's not a word in our case. So we would say that print, sorry, you got it wrong. And then it needs to print the number of points you have. Like it said here, so far you have -1 points. Now how do we do this? Well, we would take points, which would be equal to points, because always, let's say if you make it points equal to 10, and you say points is equal to -1, points now is equal to -1 instead of 9. What I mean is this. If, let's say, points is 9, okay, and I say points instead of points -1, I say points is equal to -1. In this case, points is going to equal to 8. But in this case, points is going to be equal to -1. No matter what you do, even if this is 10, 100, 55, in this case, it's always going to be -1. But in this case, it'll be less than the number of points you have, because you're saying points, or 9, -1. That's why we always use points -1 when we're coding something like this. And we're going to put points back to 0, and continue. So let's put an else, not an elif, but an else, and say print, great, you have got it. It is a number. And of course, in this case, we have to tell the user it's a number, just in case if they're kind of not getting it. So we do, it is a number. So now we've come up to this part. So in else, we know that they got it correct. That means they get 20 points, or whatever points you want them to get. So we would have to go to points is equal to points plus 20. Now, this will work because points is a number. If points was a string, let's say string 0, then you would have to put integer to make this work. But in this case, it works perfectly fine. Nothing wrong is going to happen. Now, after that, we gotta print how many points they have. So one way to do this is go after each and say print the number of points. Or you could go at the end and say print you have plus string points plus points, period. So it would say you have 20 points, or you have -1 points, or you have 18 points, or something like that. And this is just a way to be easier and more kind of formalized when you're coding, instead of doing it after each and making it take more time and more work. You could just put it once and you're done. So after that comes a little bit of the hard part, and that's where we use while. After that, they need to guess this number. So to do this, we're going to use while. Now, what does while mean in the real world? While basically means, well, it just keeps on going until something happens. So we do while true. Now, while true means keep on running. Keep on repeating and repeating and repeating until you say exit or stop or something like that. So that's why we're using this, because we're not going to code this all the time. We're not going to code this section continuously and continuously and continuously and continuously. That would just take forever. So that's where while comes in. So to do this, we have to do what we've been doing so far this entire time. We have to put input and sort into a variable, and then do the if-else statement. Try doing this by yourself. Pause this video and try it. If it doesn't work, continue watching and figure it out. So, to do this, we just have to store it into a variable. We're going to name this as question number 2. So, question number 2 is equal to input, guess what this number is, question mark, and then do if Q2 is equal to, if Q2 is equal to this number, then we are going to print, great, you got it. Nothing else needs to be done. You got it. Amazing. Exit. So great, you got the number. But of course, we still need to print the number of points they had. So we would do print points. But remember, we haven't put points yet. We haven't added the points because they got it correct. So we've got to put it before here. We're going to do points is equal to points plus 20. And then we can print you ended with these many points. Now this is if they got it correct. What if they got it wrong? You would do else. The same thing we've been doing so far. We're doing if, else. If you did it, great. If you didn't, stop it. So we do print, sorry, you got it wrong. Points is equal to points minus 1. And then print, you have these many points so far, and then plus string points, and for formality we'll put a period at the end, and you're done. But notice, we're not saying you've ended with these many points at the end. We're saying so far, meaning you can have as many tries as you want in this while loop. So what is this while loop doing? Well, it's asking this question, and let's say we got it wrong. It would go to this statement, else, and it would print sorry, you have these many points so far, and since there's nothing afterwards, then it goes back at while true. And let's say you got it correct this time. You go to this. But there's still nothing like that says exit, stop, nothing. Even though you've already got it correct. So we'll keep asking the same thing, same thing, same thing, and nothing will happen. And you don't want this. You want to exit the game when it's done. So you're going to put exit. So now you're done with your game. And we can run this, it will do the same thing it's been doing so far. And it'll make a small, fun, short game. Let's run this. So it asks us, do you want to play a small, fun game? And let's say yes. Okay, great, let's continue. Pick a name. Like I said before, my name's going to be PFK. And then you can say, welcome to the guessing game. You'll be asked to guess this magical word or number, getting 20 points for each correct and losing 1 point for each one wrong. Let's play. Guess, is this a word or a number? And of course, we know it's going to be a number because we've coded it. But for your friends, they won't know. We're going to guess number because we always like getting the most number of points and cheating. No, don't cheat. Don't ever cheat. But we made this game, so we can really do whatever we want. We got it right. So far, you have 20 points. Guess what number this is? 1 to 100. Now, we know it's 75. But just to make sure it's working, we're going to do something random. Let's say 20. It says, sorry you got it wrong. You have 19 points. Guess this number again. And let's try 75. And you got it right. You ended up with 39 points. So the maximum you can get is 40 points. Since we got one question wrong, we got 39 points. You can add more questions and more fun to this program if you want. But this is simple, basic programs using all the things we have learned. Input, printing, strings, integers, adding variables together, subtracting variables together from each other, and so much more. Thanks for watching, everybody. Look out for more of my videos. I'll be doing more of these type of programs, small mini ones, and to learn more about this Python programming. So, bye.